Our tropical isle. What is it that you say? Take me to an island and all will be peace and tranquility and beautiful music together we will make? I'm not sure who the program director was for this island's music, but I am certain it was exactly what was supposed to be playing at that time.
My husband had just completed his 4-year stint training as a dentist at NYU Dental School. While he was busy preparing for his clinical exam taking place the next morning, and which, if passed, would award him his license to anesthetize, drill, fill, and extract, I was going into labor. What timing. What a disaster. He suggested I call his mother to take me to the hospital since he couldn't miss the exam, and I wouldn't dream of letting that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow pass us by. Mom, Mildred, arrived smiling ear to ear as she took my arm and gingerly helped me into her car. For 16 hours alone in a hospital room, I silently groaned and moaned, too embarrassed to make a fuss, longing for my husband to take my hand and kiss my forehead as I brought our child into the world. Eventually, he did appear with the news that he was now a licensed dentist, bursting with pride, embracing this double day of joy. We had discussed the near future and how we would deal with it. Since he was deferred as a student from the mandatory draft during the Vietnam years, he was now susceptible until age 35 to be drafted at any time. Did it pay to set up a practice and then suddenly have the rug pulled out as he was marched off to the military? A decision was made. He would enlist in the Navy, automatically be an officer, and, after 2 years, be able to put that wave of uncertainty behind us. Then he could put out his shingle and happily deliver white smiles to his patients. A few weeks later, we received his orders. He was to be stationed in Beaufort, South Carolina, home to the U.S. Marines Parris Island military base. His rank was to be lieutenant, serving in the dental clinic and administering his expertise to incoming recruits. It had been raining steadily all morning, and although it had turned into a soft drizzle, I couldn't help worrying that this was just a prelude, a warm-up for the huge deluge to follow. I watched the rain depositing droplets of iridescent tears cascading down the pane of glass, blurring my vision as I strained to watch the jumbo jet taxi into Gate 4A. The jet came to a halt and remained still until a metal staircase was wheeled over to the open door portal of the metal tube with wings. Weary travelers held carefully onto the rope banisters as they descended the staircase and filed onto the solid ground of Newark Airport. 5 minutes after the last passengers disgorged and left Gate 4A, the announcement that my flight was boarding made me scramble up my belongings before I bent down and hooked my arm through the handle of the baby carrier. My 6-week-old baby boy was oblivious of the scuffle as he slept in his bubble of innocence for want of nothing more than his bottle of warm formula to be dry and to relieve a clawing burp as he cuddled up on Mommy's chest. Pursing his lips as if he was already tasting his next bottle of Nirvana, I silently pleaded that his little bubble of oblivion wouldn't suddenly burst out into a wail demanding instant gratification, or else the ear-splitting demand would continue while receiving the stares of disapproval from my fellow planemates. So be it. He wailed the entire 3.5 hours as the plane flew above the rain clouds, promising better weather when we reached our destination. The Beaufort Executive Airport, the portal leading us out to our new home for the next 2 years. The wheels of the plane dropped down from its belly. I tightened my seatbelt and I leaned over to secure the baby carrier as I anticipated the bump and burst of speed when the jet landed on the runway. The cabin filled with whoops and applause as the jet touched down to Mother Earth. A moment later, the very beautiful, very slim, and very efficient stewardess pulled the giant lever to the left and pulled a handle towards her as she effortlessly opened the door of the cabin, quickly moving aside, allowing everyone to begin exiting the aircraft. The shockwave of humid-laden, oppressive heat made my knees almost buckle as I made my way towards the terminal building. The tarred tarmac under my feet felt as if I was walking on flypaper, my flip-flops struggling to lift off the ground with each sticky step. Just a few hours ago, I was fearing a rainstorm. Oh, how I now wished for a drenching, cooling deluge. I entered the wooden, one-story executive terminal, relieved to see him standing proudly, all pleated and starched in his new navy khakis. God, he was handsome. And God bless air conditioning and my beautiful husband standing there with open arms. Our new car, gifted to us from his parents, was parked at the curb, close and convenient. We deposited and secured the now very quiet, well-fed, and exhausted baby Brian into his new car seat, which Eddie had carefully researched and chosen since it was rated safest by Consumer Reports, Ed's Holy Bible. "Welcome to Beaufort," Eddie announced as we drove toward the officers' housing complex. "Takes time to get used to this weather, if ever, but Beaufort definitely has its charm." The road grew cooler and darker as we drove down narrow roads lined with stately, tall trees, draped with web-like green Spanish moss, which was beautifully eerie and so southern. Grand old antebellum mansions lined up like a proud reminiscence of Scarlett O'Hara's beloved Tara. It was charming, it was stately, and it was beautiful. The road widened into a 2-lane highway. A road sign on the right indicated 3 miles to Paris Island. Our tropic island was so close. Will we feel marooned, or will we feel as if we were blessed with a 2-year ticket to paradise? Ah, sweet mysteries of life. What awaits us 3 miles down the road?